Hola, welcome to Santulan Yoga. For today's class, we'll be doing like a beginner's level warm-up type series. So you don't need any experience for what we're going to be doing today in class. You don't necessarily need any props for today, but I will make some suggestions for props if you need. If you don't have any yoga blocks, you can use books. Dictionary size is a good amount of thickness for our yoga block. You can also use bed pillows or pillows from your sofa. And if you don't have a strap, you can use a dressing gown tie or a scarf or a towel. Those are good options if you don't have a yoga strap. And then we'll also utilize a blanket as well. So any kind of blanket. My one's woolen, so a reasonable amount of thickness. But if you don't have a thick blanket, you can just fold it over a few times. And so we will utilize these props in class just to help your body ease into the positions a bit easier. If you're being a little bit stiff or tight, or if the mobility isn't quite there. But yeah, otherwise, if you don't have any of those items available to you, you can do this class, no worries. All right, so what we'll do is we will start standing in the center of the mat. So feet can either be together or a fist width apart, whichever feels more comfortable for you. As we inhale, raising our arms up overhead, interlacing the fingers together. I'll just bring my arms down, interlacing the fingers together, palms facing together. And then we will revolve the palms so that the palms are moving upwards. So pushing the palms out, revolving the wrists, pushing them out. So just raising them above the head, bring the backs of the hands back down to the top of the head. As we inhale, we'll extend those arms long above the head, pushing the heels of the hands up towards the ceiling. And if balance is okay, we'll lift the heels up off the mat at the same time, coming up onto the balls of the feet. And exhaling, bringing the heels down, bringing the hands down on top of the head. So if that balance is a bit tricky, just do the arms. So as we inhale, rising up, extending those arms long, pushing the heels of those hands up towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, releasing back down. So you can do this in your own breathing time. So if my breathing is a little bit slow, a little bit fast, you just go at your own pace. Inhaling again. And exhaling. One more time, inhaling again. Really pushing those palms of the hands up towards the ceiling. And the higher you push those hands, or the more effort you put into pushing those hands, it does actually help quite a lot with your balance. And releasing back down. All right, keeping the hands in the position that you've got here, stepping the feet out at least a foot wider, maybe a foot and a half. This time, inhaling to center, extending the arms long, pushing those heels of the hands up to the ceiling. And as we exhale, just bending through the waist, spinning over to the right-hand side. Inhaling to center, over to the left. Inhale back to center, over to the right. Again, just pushing the heels of those hands away, getting a nice stretch through the side body here. Inhale, center, exhale, left. And so we're moving over to the right and the left sides. We don't want to be moving forward. We just want to be tilting the waist over to the right and the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Again, just with your own pace of breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. We'll do it once more to each side. Inhaling center, exhale to the right. Inhale center, exhale left. Inhaling back to center. All right, bringing the arms down to shoulder height. Inhaling to center again, but this time we're twisting the body to the right. Bring the right hand into the small of the back, left hand crossing over the chest, place the left hand on the right shoulder. Inhaling center, exhale left. So left hand into the small of the back, right hand coming across the chest, put the right hand on the left shoulder. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Now with this movement, you can make it as slow or as fast as you wish. With the warming up, you can go at a reasonable pace. But again, just as fast or slow as you feel comfortable with. And also with the breathing rate as well. Right, we'll go once more to each side. Right. To the left. And inhaling back to center. All right, stepping the feet back into hip width apart. This time, just inhaling the arms up overhead, extending the arms as long as they feel comfortable. But not extending the arms so far that the ribs start to pop out. We want to make sure that our body stays in a nice straight up and down position. So I'll just turn to the side. We want to keep the ribs tucked, keep the bottom slightly tucked under. So, and we don't want to be putting a curve in the back here. So just be aware that if you can't quite get the arms straight up alongside the head, just bring them halfway up. That's perfectly acceptable. So as we inhale, bring the arms up alongside the head. And as we exhale, we're going to hinge from the hips. Bring this torso over top of the thighs and releasing the body down. Now you can place your hands either on the hips, on top of the thighs, on the shins, on the feet, or if you can touch the floor there. We're just letting this body dangle and hang heavy. If you are folded all the way forward, let the crown and the head release down towards the mat. And inhaling, bending through the knees, bringing that torso back up to standing. Raising the arms up overhead. Inhaling. Exhaling, hinging from the hips. Releasing the body down. Let that body fold over the thighs. If the hamstrings are a bit tight, do have a wee bend in the knees to take pressure off the backs of the legs and the lower back. Inhaling, rising up. Exhaling, folding forward. Nice and slow, just warming up through the hips here. Let that body hang heavy. Inhaling, rising up. We'll take one breath here. Inhaling again. And as we exhale, folding forward from those hips, releasing the body back down towards the mat. Taking a few breaths here in this forward fold. We're going to stay here for a couple of breaths, just getting comfortable. So another thing that we can do in this position if staying in this static position isn't so comfortable, as you can just move, bend one through one knee, straighten the other. So bend through the left, straighten through the right, and you can bring the body around towards the right, bring a sort of a twisting movement here. Straighten up through both the legs now, bending through the right knee, straightening through the left, walking the hands over to the left. Straightening out through the center, inhaling into the center, exhaling, walking over to the right. Inhale back to center, walking the hands, exhaling, walking the hands over to the left. One more time, inhale center, exhale right. Inhale center. Exhale left, inhale to center, and we'll pause here in the center again for a moment. Just noticing the backs of the legs, just noticing how tight or how loose they are, see how they're feeling today. You may even feel it up into the lower back or into the rest of the back as well. All right, one more breath. This time, just going to use our back muscles and roll up very slowly. So bending through the knees. And we're going to roll the spine up. So one vertebra at a time. Keep rolling that spine up. Keeping the chin tucked. Stacking those bones on top of each other. Bringing the shoulders up. When the shoulders are up, then starting to bring the chin upwards. And pausing here in standing position and just noticing how you feel. So whenever we go from being upside down to standing straight back up, it's a really good idea to tuck the chin to the chest. That can help with any dizziness that you might feel from changing positions there. All right, so we're going to come down onto the mat now. And if you have it, we'll grab the yoga strap, or if you don't have a yoga strap, either a dressing gown tie or a scarf. Because I've got a yoga strap, what I'll do is I'll make a little loop in it that we're going to put our foot in. But if you don't have that, then just having equal amount of whatever it is that you have on both sides, that's all you need, and you just pop the foot in the loop that you make with the strap that you've got. But I'll make a little loop with mine, just to make it a little bit easier. So if you do have one of these at home, it's just like a little D-ring, two D-rings that you pop the strap through, straight through, and then in order to make it lock, you want to pass it over the first one and under the second one, and then pull the tail through. If you don't have any little kinks in it, there you go. So we make a little loop like that, and then having pulled that tail through, that'll be nice and strong and it won't undo itself. So laying down on our backs, pop the strap around the left foot. And if the hamstrings are a bit tight, you can bend the right knee and draw that right foot up towards the bottom. Or if you're a little bit more flexible, you can extend that right leg along the mat. So all we're doing here is trying to find the point of resistance with the hamstring muscle and calf muscle. So ideally, it'll be a 90-degree angle from the mat up to the left leg. But if your leg is down here or down here, that's fine also. This is why we have the strap, so that we can hang on to the strap as a support for the leg. If you are hanging onto the strap, just make sure the arms and the shoulders are nice and relaxed, and the shoulders should be down on the mat, head should be down on the mat. So nice and relaxed at this part here. We just want the stretch in the leg. So finding that point of resistance, you want to feel the stretch, but you don't want to be in any pain, and you don't want the leg to be, bucking back and forth. If it is jiggling quite a bit, then bring the leg down some more, so that you're still feeling that stretch, but you're not, your body isn't working hard against you. So arms and shoulders nice and relaxed. And we just want the weight of the hands, the weight of the arms to pull down on the strap. So you get a sort of a counterbalance of the arms and the leg. Pushing the heel of the left foot up towards the ceiling or away from the body, and very gently just bringing the toes back towards the body. So we don't want a pointed foot, we don't want a slack foot, we want a little bit of muscle engagement here through the quadricep, the thigh muscles, and a bit of flexion through the ankle. So we're not just hanging out, we want to be active in our legs. Same with the right leg as well. If your right leg is straight along the mat, then you want to be doing the same. You want to be pushing out through the heel of the right foot and bringing those toes back so that your leg muscles are engaged in this position. So just breathing into this position here. As we settle in this position, you might find that as you get comfortable with each breath, with each inhale, you can bring the legs slightly close towards you. If it's just 1 millimeter, that's fine, or 1 centimeter, that's fine. Or if you just stay where you are, then that's fine also. So inhaling, see if we can just extend that leg a little bit further, if that's accessible. If not, just stay where you are. And as we exhale, just sending that exhalation down to the leg muscles and telling the body that it's safe to relax, it's safe in this position, it's safe to soften any of those tight areas within them. So we're using our breath not only to help us stretch in these muscles, our breath also tells us that we're safe and comfortable in this position. So nice deep belly breathing. We'll do one more breath here. All right. Now, if you have it, you can either place a block or a pillow alongside the left hand hip here. Place it about 1 foot away from the leg. And what we'll do is we'll bring the left hand onto the strap or into the loop, and the right hand is going to come down directly out from the right shoulder, palm face down on the floor to give us a counterbalance. So now what we'll do is we'll inhale to center, and as we exhale, slowly moving that left leg outwards towards the left. So opening up through that left hip. Again, just finding that point of resistance and just stopping where we feel the stretch, but we aren't in any pain. So what we can do with this block is we can place it somewhere to support the leg. I might need 2 blocks today. So I'm bringing it over to the hip so that I can rest my leg down onto it. So you can use a pillow here. So having the props is a great idea if we're a little bit stiff, and it just tells the leg that it's safe in this position, it's supported in this position, because we've got the blocks and we've got the strap to take any of the stress and strain of opening out to the left. So we can comfortably stretch that inner thigh, but be supported while we're doing so. So again, just taking a few breaths here. In through the nose, back of the throat, down to the lungs. Out of the lungs, back of the throat, out through the nose. All right, one more breath here. And inhaling, drawing that leg back up to center, pulling on that strap if the leg is a little bit weak. Bring both hands onto the strap again. And this time, we'll bring the block or the pillow to the right-hand side. Same again, about hip height on this side. This time what we'll do is we'll bring the strap into the right hand. Left hand's coming down directly out from the shoulder, palm face down. Inhaling to center. And as we exhale, drawing that left leg across the body to the right. So coming into a spinal twist here. And just coming over to the right as far as you feel comfortable. And again, just placing that leg on the blocks or the pillow as a support. The foot doesn't quite come down to the floor. And in this position, we're actually rolling up onto the right hip. So feel free to roll all the way over onto that right side. So leg and foot is coming down towards the floor. And with the left hand and shoulder, just rolling that shoulder down towards the mat, trying to get that left shoulder as close to the floor as possible. But really it's just there as a counterbalance. So in this position, you can either look up towards the ceiling, or if the neck is okay, you don't have any problems in the neck, you can turn your head to the left and look towards the left. If your neck is quite immobile, you can look down the left arm towards the hand. But again, if that's too much, then just bring the head back to looking up from the center. So in this position, still keeping the legs engaged, pushing out through the heels, toes coming back towards the body. One more breath. And inhaling, drawing that left leg straight back up to the center, rolling back onto the back. Bring both hands onto the strap again. This time, as we inhale, drawing the head, drawing the shoulders up off the mat. Bring the chin and the knee as close together as possible. So gently pushing down on the strap. Bring the leg a bit closer towards the head. Taking a few breaths here. This one can be a bit intense. One more breath. And slowly releasing the shoulders, releasing the head back down the mat. Right, releasing the pressure off the strap. We'll just bring that left leg straight back down to meet the right leg. Just pausing here for a moment to notice the difference between the left and the right legs. And then if you have the yoga strap, just bring that right foot in towards the loop, taking the left foot out. And just using the right leg muscles, draw that right leg up. All right. If the leg muscles in the right leg are a bit tight, bend through the left leg, bend through the knee, bring the sole of the left foot down to the mat. If it's accessible, extending that left leg long. And again, just noticing how does this right leg compare to the left? Is it a bit tighter? Is it a bit looser than the left-hand side? And just adjust accordingly. So if you need to ease off, bring the right leg down a bit. If you can go a little bit further, bring it up closer to 90 degrees. Just listen to your own body and what it needs today. So pushing out through both heels, the right and the left leg, drawing the toes back, engaging through that quadricep, the thigh muscle, and flexing through the right ankle. And again, just noticing, finding that point of resistance where you're getting the stretch but you're not in any pain, and no like shaky jiggly stuff. If you're shaking and jiggling, then please ease off. Roll the shoulders back and down towards the mat, nice and relaxed through the shoulders and the arms, the head and the neck. Just focusing on the right leg here. And coming back to that breath, breathing in through the nose, back of the throat, down into the lungs, out of the lungs, back of the throat, out through the nose. So inhaling, if it's accessible, drawing that right leg in a little further towards the body, and exhaling, releasing and softening into any of the tight areas, muscles or joints. Letting your body know that it's safe, that it's supported. One more breath here. All right, when you're ready, bring the strap into the right hand. Left hand coming down, directly up the shoulder, palm face down. Inhaling to center. And exhaling, just opening up through that right hip. Softening through that right hip, allowing the leg to come straight out from the hip. And hopefully your blocks or your pillow should still be on the right hand side to support the leg. Making any adjustments that you need, bring it a little bit closer perhaps. And just allowing that right leg to rest on top of your support. So we're taking the slack with the strap, but also controlling how far open the leg is being. And with the blocks, we're supporting the leg so that it can safely open out towards the right, so that you're just getting just enough stretch with that inner thigh. It's not very often that we get our bodies into these positions in this day and age, and we spend such a long time sitting at our desks, or driving in the car, or lying down. We forget that our bodies can move in these different directions, you know, out to the side, across the body, twisting the spine. We don't get to do this very often in our day-to-day lives. So just reminding the body that it has these other aspects, these other ratios of movement. So just taking a few breaths. One more breath. And just gently pulling on that strap, but using your leg muscles at the same time, drawing that right leg back up center. Pausing here for a moment. And just noticing how that hip is feeling, now that we've opened up out to the right. Taking the time to switch the blocks if we need. All right, bringing that strap into the left hand now, right hand coming down, palm face down to the floor. Inhaling center and exhaling, rolling over onto that left hip, bring that right leg across the body to the left. You might need to make a couple of adjustments here to make it more comfortable, rolling up onto the hip. So again, flexing through both of those heels, bringing the toes back towards the body, staying engaged with those leg muscles. Rolling that right shoulder back and down towards the floor. And keeping the head looking straight up, or if the neck is okay, you can turn the head over to the right to look along the right arm. head is turned, turning the head back to center. We'll take one more breath. And drawing that right leg back up to center, rolling back onto the back. Bring both arms onto the strap. And this time inhaling, drawing the head, drawing the shoulders up off the mat. Pulling the right leg a little bit closer towards the head. So trying to get the chin and the knee as close as possible together. Working in that direction. Take a couple of breaths here. One more. And then slowly release the shoulders and the head back down towards the mat. All right, slowly release that right leg down to the mat. Both legs long now. And just pausing here to notice the left and the right legs. All right, so just removing that strap away from the foot, place that off to one side. Now bending through both knees, drawing the heels up towards the bottom. Just remove these blocks. Bring the arms alongside the body. Tucking the chin into the chest ever so slightly and drawing the back of the neck and the head along the mat. We want to keep our head in a straight position, so looking straight up to the ceiling. So if you wish, you can look to see what I'm doing at first, but otherwise when you start doing this, I want you to keep straight up towards the ceiling to protect the neck. What we'll do is we'll press down through our feet, down through our hands as we inhale, just engaging through the leg muscles and lifting that pelvis up towards the ceiling. Squeezing the bottom very gently as we lift the hips up. And as we exhale, rolling that spine back down and bring hips back down towards the mat. All right. As we inhale, press through the hands, press through the feet, engaging through the thigh muscles, lifting the pelvis up towards the ceiling as high as you feel comfortable. Squeezing the bottom when you're at the top. And exhale, slowly rolling down vertebra by vertebra until the bottom touches the mat. Then you can release. All right, again, inhaling, pressing down through the feet, down through the hands, lifting the pelvis up. Maybe you can lift that pelvis up just a smidgen higher. And exhale, rolling that spine back down, nice and slow, rolling down through that spine. And releasing at the bottom. Once more, inhaling, pushing down through the hands, down through the feet, lifting that pelvis up towards the ceiling. Really engaging those leg muscles, squeezing the leg muscles in, squeezing the bottom in, so you can lift just up a little bit higher. Maybe you can get that push up so that you're pushing a little bit of weight down into the shoulders now. Tuck the chin into the chest a little bit more, lifting up through the upper back, up into the chest. We'll take a breath here. One more inhale. And as we exhale, very slowly rolling down. Shoulder blades, upper back, mid back, lower back, and then sacrum and bottom down last. All right, staying in this position here. If you have that block or a pillow, what we'll do is we'll just lift that bottom up off the mat again and we'll slide that block underneath. So we want to place the block where the sacrum is, where the pelvis is. So not so far down that the fleshy part of your bottom is sitting, and not so high up it's in the smaller back. We want that in between space. So placing it there, your sacrum should rest quite easily there, and you should feel reasonably comfortable with that block in that part of your back. So feet are staying where they are, arms are staying where they are. Just stay here in this supported bridge. This is quite a nice position if the back is a little bit achy. Also, if the front of the hips are a little bit tight, this can be a nice comfortable place to rest. Take a few breaths here just to rest the body. One more breath. All right. Now just engaging those leg muscles, lifting the hips up and releasing that block away from the lower back. And slowly rolling that spine back down towards the mat. Right, pausing here for a moment, just to notice how that lower back and spine feels. All right, just pressing into the hands, into the elbows. Coming back up to a seated position just for a moment. Now you can use the pillow again for this next position, or what I like to use is a camping mat, but you can also use a blanket for this too. So what I do is I roll this camping mat up into a roll. So roll like this. It can be as tight or as loose as you wish. And what we'll do here is lay back down onto our back, and we're going to place this roll just underneath the shoulder blades, so below the shoulder blades. So kind of at armpit height is, I guess, another landmark there. So opening up through the chest here, rolling the shoulders and the head back down. If it's a little bit too far down for the head and the neck to be comfortable, you can place a blanket or a pillow under the head. to make it a bit more comfortable. And then you can just release the arms wherever they feel good. So whether alongside the body, you can move them around the roll or the pillow or the block, whatever it is that you're using. Some people like to bend through the elbows and bring the upper arms up alongside the head. That can be quite nice to get an even bigger stretch through the upper chest here. So just whatever feels good. We're extending through the upper back, which is quite a difficult area to get stretched through, just because of the nature of the rib cage. You don't have a lot of flexibility through there, and it can cause quite a bit of shoulder discomfort, not being able to stretch effectively through there. So this is quite a nice stretch, supported stretch to help get a little bit more freedom into that upper back, shoulder blade area. So again, just breathing into this space, breathing into any sticky spots that we might be feeling through here. And you might already notice, just being in this position for a short period of time, that you can almost feel that you get much more expansion into the ribs as you breathe in. So elevating the chest like this can aid us into breathing throughout the entire length and breadth of our lungs. Making use of all parts of our lungs, the upper part of the lungs, the mid lung, the lower part of the lung. Really moving down through that diaphragm and our abdomen. Very nice for getting into all the parts, expanding the ribs outwards as well. So just following that breath, moving in and out of the body. In through the nose, back of the throat, down into the lungs, down through the diaphragm, abdomen, letting the ribs expand outwards. And exhaling, ribs coming in, abdomen coming in, diaphragm coming in, out of the lungs, back of the throat, out through the nose. One more breath like this. Right, and when you're ready, very slowly coming out of this position. So maybe bending the knees, if you're not bent already, and rolling over onto one side. I'm going to roll onto my right side. And just very gently pushing yourself back up. All right. So from here, we're going to come into a tabletop position. And you might want to have those blocks nearby if you wish. It's coming onto the hands and the knees. Arms underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Using the breath again, we're going to work into that spine a little bit more. So as we inhale, lifting the head, lifting the tailbone up to the ceiling and dropping the belly down. So we want a downward curve into the spine. This also helps open up our chest. And as we exhale, dropping the head down, dropping the tailbone down, and lifting those ribs up towards the ceiling, so rounding in the opposite direction. Looking more like a cat in this position. This is known as cat pose, stretching out through the back like our cat would, drawing that belly button in towards the spine very softly. And inhale, lifting the head, lifting the tailbone, dropping the belly down towards the mat. Exhale, rounding, drop the head, drop the bottom down, round, and lift those ribs up towards the ceiling. In this position, we're pressing the hands into the mat, the legs into the mat, really reaching those ribs upwards. Inhaling, lifting the head, lifting the tailbone. Exhaling, rounding. With your own breath and your own pace. Inhale. Exhale. Once more, inhale, lifting the head, lifting the tailbone up. Exhale, rounding, pushing those ribs out towards the ceiling. And coming back to neutral spine, neutral position. This time we'll draw the right foot forward between the hands. You might need to wiggle to get the foot up there into that position. And this is where the blocks can come into handy. So place a block on either side of that right foot. They can either be at this low level here or turn it sideways to come to a medium height, or you might want it on the very edge so that you're on the upper height. I'm going to put it on the medium side. Now what we'll do is we'll tuck the toes of the left foot and we'll just lift that left knee up off the mat just for a moment, straightening that leg just for a moment, and then releasing that knee back down. And untuck the toes, bring the top of that foot down towards the mat. Now we just do that to ensure that our kneecap is in a comfortable position here in this low lunge. And now what we'll do is actually, I'll change my mind, bring the blocks up to a bigger height and drawing that body upwards, straightening up through the spine, bringing the shoulders up and over the hips. So we can draw these blocks back to give us some support. Opening up through the chest, rolling those shoulders back and down, growing tall through the spine, head and neck. Imagine someone is lifting you up from the head by a string or a rope. Just going to wiggle my right leg forward a little bit. So in this position, if the hips are a bit stiff, we can find some movement here. So just bring both of the hips back towards the back of the mat, straightening through that right leg. And bending through the right leg, pushing both hips forward. Just slowly moving forwards and backwards, getting some movement into the hips. Also bringing some warmth into the hips, loosening the hips up. We've loosened them up a wee bit at the beginning of class with the leg extensions. Once more in each direction, back, forward. All right, and pausing in the center here. Bringing those shoulders back up over the hips if that's accessible. Another option you can have if your arms are a bit short, you can place the right hand on top of the right knee and keep the left hand on top of the block. That can be a little bit more comfortable. So just pausing here. If the balance is okay, you can bring the left hand as well on top of the knee. You can get a little bit more extension into the stretch here, but only do that if it's accessible and comfortable. So again, just meeting that point of resistance. You'll probably most definitely be feeling it in the left leg, the front of the left leg, left thigh. Quadricep stretch, thigh stretch. So breathing into any sticky spots, any tight spots here. One more breath. And very slowly bring both of those hips back towards the back of the mat again. You can sometimes feel a bit stuck in that position if the muscles are a bit tight. So if you want to move back and forward a couple of times, feel free to do that. All right, and when you're ready, you draw that right leg back to meet the left. Coming down off those blocks for a moment, back to that tabletop position, and just wiggle those hips from side to side. And just noticing the difference between the right and the left sides. Right, left leg this time, draw the left leg forward between the hands or between the blocks. Tuck the toes of the right foot, lift that right knee up off the mat just for a moment, straighten that leg and release that knee back down, untuck the toes, place the top of the right foot down to the mat. And extending through the spine, lifting our shoulders and our torso upwards, bring the shoulders up over the hips. And just getting used to this position. Maybe you want to wiggle that left foot forward a little bit further. So ideally we want the knee right above the ankle. But again, everybody is different. Just find the position that's best for you. And if you're feeling a bit stiff, we can move those hips back and forward again. So bring both hips back towards the back of the mat, extending through the left leg here, bending through the left knee, coming forward. Nice and slow, just warming those hips up. Once more, forward and back. And coming forward again, lifting up through the spine, drawing those shoulders back and down, shoulders over the hips. If you wish, you can bring that left hand on top of the left knee, keep the right hand on the block. Come up onto the fist as well if the arms are a little bit short. If the balance is okay, you can bring both hands up onto that left knee. One of the keys with balance in this position is to imagine that you've got, say, like a plank of wood between both thighs, and you're very gently squeezing the left and the right thighs in towards that centered line as if you're squeezing that wooden board between your legs. That can help with the balance quite a lot. Or we can use things like blocks, make our life easier. So again, just meeting that point of resistance through the stretch here. If you need to back off, then just back off a wee bit, bring those hips back a bit. Otherwise, we're just breathing into those sticky spots, using our breath. Our breath is very useful when things are difficult. Let's take one more breath. And very slowly moving those hips back towards the back of the mat. Maybe come forward and back a few times. Just to release any stickiness, any stiffness through the hips. And drawing that left foot back to meet the right. Coming back to the tabletop position. Wiggle the hips side to side. And again, just notice how those hips are feeling in comparison to each other or in comparison to before we started this low lunge stretch. Right, just moving those blocks a little bit further away. This time, we're going to draw our knees wide out to the outer edges of the mat, bring the big toes to touch, and bending through the knees, bending through the hips, releasing that bottom down towards the heels. So trying to get that bottom to sit down on the heels or as close as we can get. Extending our arms forward, creeping our fingertips forward, and releasing our chest down towards the mat. And placing the head down onto the mat as well, whether you want to go forehead down or turn the head to one side. We'll just rest here for a moment, releasing through the back, releasing through the hips, extending those arms long. So staying engaged to the arms. We don't really want to just be hanging out here. We want to be getting a stretch through the shoulders and the arms as well. Doing some work too. If the head doesn't quite reach the floor, you can use a block or a pillow. Place your forehead on there. That can be quite nice on the forehead for support. So forearms can be down to the mat as well. Just working our fingers and our arms to extending on the mat. Still want to be nice and soft and relaxed. But just working in that direction. And one more breath. And as we inhale, looking forward towards our hands and pressing into our hands, lifting ourselves back up to that tabletop position, walking the knees back in, walking the hands back in. All right, we're coming back to sit on our bottoms. And this is where you might like to utilize a blanket. This will just help lift our hips up a little bit higher so that we can extend into the stretch here, and we'll grab the strap again. Again, you don't necessarily need the strap, but it can be useful if we are feeling still a little bit tight in the backs of our legs and our backs. So I'm just going to move myself on a slight angle here so you can see what we're about to do. So squaring your hips to the mat, I'm sitting sideways so that you can see a bit better, but normally we'll be squaring our hips to the mat. And what we'll do is we'll bend through the right knee, draw the right knee in towards the chest to bring the right foot alongside the in part of the left knee and drop that right knee out towards the right. Placing a strap on the bottom of the left foot and bringing the edges or the ends of the strap closer to the body. I'm just placing that down there just for now. So growing tall through the spine. As we inhale, lifting the arms up overhead alongside the head. Extending those arms long. As we exhale, hinging from the hips and extending our arms, extending our body along the left leg. So we're reaching towards our left toes. We can't reach our toes. This is where the strap comes in. You can grab onto the strap. And again, relax shoulders, relax arms, just using the weight of your arms to gently pull your body along. If you're still sitting reasonably upright, that's fine. If you're all the way down here along the leg, that's fine also. Just again, meeting your point of resistance. So engaging through that left quad muscle, the left thigh muscle, and extending out through the left heel, bending through the ankle, bringing the toes back toward the body. So you can also just place your hands on the leg, or you can place your hands alongside the leg. We're really just wanting to hinge from the hips and bring our body in that direction. With the right leg, we just want to use the leg muscles to gently press that knee outwards and down. If it's not going all the way down, that's fine. You can place a pillow under this knee as well to support this leg as well. But again, that's just the direction that we're working So just using what you have and using the openness of your body to work into those directions. So again, just taking a few breaths. One more breath. Wherever you are, drawing those shoulders back over those hips, nice and tall through the spine, drawing that right knee back into center, and extending that right leg long to meet the left. And just noticing the differences between the legs. Always good to notice between the right and left sides when you're doing something that's asymmetrical. All right, pop that strap under the right foot. Bend through the left knee, draw that left knee in towards the body. And left foot in towards that right thigh. And then just gently opening up through that left leg. Making sure those hips are square towards the front edge of the mat. Growing tall through the spine. Imagine that string or that rope from the top of the head lifting you upwards towards the top of the ceiling. As we inhale, drawing those arms alongside the head, extending the arms and fingertips up towards the ceiling. As we exhale, hinging from the hips and moving towards that right leg, so extending the arms long. You can touch the toes, grabbing onto the toes or the feet. You can place them on the thigh or the shin, get the anatomy correct. And if you wish, you can also grab onto that strap. So nice and relaxed through the shoulders, through the arms. Just having the weight of the arms pressing onto the strap. And if you wish, just pulling yourself along a little bit further. But again, just meeting that point of resistance. So engaging through that right thigh, pushing out through the right heel away from you as if you could extend your leg all the way along to the opposite side of the room. Just bending through the ankle, bringing the toes back. And with the left leg, just using the muscles of the left thigh and knee and just very gently pressing that left knee down towards the floor, just as far as you can. And if it's not near the floor, then just pop a blanket or a cushion under that knee just to support that. So again, just noticing the right and the left sides. How's this leg feeling compared to the left? Maybe you're a little bit more flexible on this side. Maybe you can pull that torso a little bit closer towards the toes. So in this position, we just want to be looking towards the toes or a point just beyond the foot. Just focusing our mind on the toes or that point just in front of the foot. And coming back to the breath, always back to the breath. So inhaling, drawing ourselves a little bit closer towards the right leg. Exhaling, just softening through the stiff spots, or breathing into tight spots, and just reminding them that it's okay to let go. We'll take one more breath. And when you're ready, just bring the shoulders up over those hips, drawing that left knee back in towards the center and extending both legs long. All right, squaring both hips now, legs both extending long, strap is along behind both feet. So in this position, we want to imagine that we're pressing our feet against a wall. So nice and straight. We don't want the feet to be curling in towards each other. We don't want them to be peeling outwards. We want them to be firmly pressing into a wall or into the strap in case of this position. So again, like before, engaging through the thigh muscles, pushing out through both heels, lifting those toes back towards the body, going tall through the spine, lifting out through the spine, head and neck. Inhaling, arms alongside the head. Exhale, hinging from the hips, extending those arms towards the toes, extending in that direction. If you can touch the feet or the toes, grabbing onto them, or onto the shins or onto the thighs. Also just place the hands alongside the mat, or we can grab onto the strap. So nice and relaxed through the shoulders and arms, just hinging from the hips. So ideally we'll be laying our torso down on top of the thighs, bringing our chest down towards the knees. But again, just meeting that point of resistance, going as far as you feel comfortable going. So what we want is we want the spine to be nice and straight. We don't want to be hunching over and rounding through the spine. We want to be straight through the backs of the legs and through the back. You can have a little bend into the knees here. That's perfectly fine. And you might find that the legs might just do it anyway, depending on how tight the hamstring and the lower back are. So just working in this direction. Inhaling, extending, maybe coming down 1 more millimeter or 1 centimeter. Exhaling, softening into any of those sticky, tight spots. One more breath here. Wherever you are, placing the hands alongside the thighs, pressing into the hands and very slowly pressing yourself back up to a seated position. All right, taking the strap away. And now if you wish, we'll put on some extra layers, so socks and jumper perhaps, or a blanket as well, if that feels good. So wherever your video is playing or wherever you're practicing today, what we'll do is we'll come up to a wall for our next position. So drag your mat over here or place a blanket down on the floor so that you'll be comfortable laying up against the wall. So I'm just going to grab that camping mat and place it over here by the wall. And what we'll do is once you're in that position, just bring one of your hips up against the wall, legs lying long. And what we'll do is we'll roll back down onto the back and bring our legs directly up against the wall. You might need to do some wiggling with your bottom to get yourself in this position. So legs straight up against the wall, get as close as you can with your bottom, and make sure that the legs and the body are going in the same direction. You can also have a blanket to put underneath your head if that feels comfortable. Or you can put the blanket over top of you. And again, just placing the arms wherever they feel comfortable. They can be alongside the body. They can be up over the head if that feels good. You can put them on the tummy. So this is a great position if you're on your feet all day. Come straight home from work or wherever you've been, take your shoes off, find yourself a wall and just pop your feet straight up the wall. You could also do it lying in bed as well, you know, turning around, put your feet up on the headboard or a wall next to your bed so that you're comfortable to do. But lying on the floor is just as accessible. So the legs are nice and relaxed in this position. And again, just coming into the breath here. Breathing in through the nose, back of the throat, down into the lungs, out of the lungs, back of the throat, out through the nose. As we lay here with our legs up against the wall, I just want you to notice the quality of your breathing. So without forcing the breath,
I just want you to notice how long it takes you to do one inhale and one exhale. So just counting 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. There's your count. So you may notice that each round of breath, which is 1 inhale and 1 exhale, the breathing count might be completely different for each round, and that's perfectly normal. That's what our breathing does naturally. So now that you've done a few rounds of breath, I just want you to take the average breath count, whatever that is, whether it's a 2 breath count or a 3 breath count, maybe it's a 4 breath count. And now I want you to, without forcing the breath, just try and get each round of breath, so each inhale and 1 exhale, the exact same breath count. And if at any point that trying to get the breath count exactly the same each round is making you feel a bit breathless, then just drop all concentration on counting the breath and just allow the breath to return to its natural, spontaneous pattern. We don't want to force the breath. But what we do want to do is we want to extend the quality of the breath. So we want to, with this exercise, we want to attempt to get the breathing longer and deeper. So using all of our lung capacity and getting that breath from shallow upper chest breathing down to slow and deep belly breath breathing. So we'll do 3 more rounds with this equal breathing, with your own pace, with your own breathing. Let's do 1 more round. All right, now just letting go of any concentration of counting the breath and just allowing the breathing to return to its natural, spontaneous pattern. And when you're ready, just bending through each knee, drawing the heels down the wall, drawing the knees closer, towards the chest, feet against the wall. Pausing here for a moment with the knees bent. And when you're ready, rolling over onto your right side. Pausing here on the right side for a moment. And when you're ready, pushing yourself back up to a seated position. Getting yourself comfortable in a seated position, whether that's crossed legs or legs extended in front of you, or maybe sitting sideways, whatever feels best. And just pausing here to notice how you're feeling now compared to the beginning of class. How your body is feeling now. How your breath is feeling now. And how your mind is feeling now. To close the practice, we will chant 3 OMs, followed by OM, Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. So you can either join in or just let the sound of OM wash over you. So we'll take 1 breath to prepare, inhaling, exhaling. Inhaling for OM. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om. So that just means Om, peace, peace, peace. Hari Om. Hari Om meaning so be it. Placing the palms of the hands together in towards the chest. Rubbing the palms of the hands together, creating some heat in the hands.
Placing the palms of the hands over the eyes, peering into the palms of the hands. Placing the hands over the cheeks and the face, over the throat and the neck. Placing the palms together again, creating some heat in the palms of the hands. Warming the backs of the hands, fingers and thumbs, wrists, forearms. Placing the hands into the chest again. Om Shanti. Thank you for joining me for this practice today. Have a lovely day.